Hi, I'm here to show you how today in this next part of lesson 9 to filter. And we are talking about a table or a spreadsheet or what sometimes they even call a database that we manipulate. And essentially what we're doing is we're saying, hey, show us this and don't show us this. They call it a request or a query, and that is essentially just a search. And those search requirements are going to match the criteria or not match the criteria. So if I say between two dates, or before this date, or after this date, or greater than this number, or less than this number, between this number, if I use text, that's all criteria. And I am having it match and show the ones that match that criteria and get rid of the ones that don't match. And essentially what they're saying is this is part of the worksheet and is treated like the database is essentially what happens when you are doing a filter. It doesn't change the table. It is just temporary, just hides them. So when we left off with our pet clinics worksheet after we got done sorting it, we had done a sort based on a color. And to double check before we move on, we're going to see if we have the right numbers of items. So to see how many that do not have a spay or neuter, I'm going to select from row 39 to row 57. And then I'm going to move this out of the way. And I'm going to come down here to the bottom right-hand corner, not above the time and a little bit to the left, and it says count 19. That means we have 19 of our animals that are not spayed or neutered. Now, the reason why I didn't select the column that says spayed or neutered is because you can't count blanks if you remember going back to lessons 4 and 5. So I had to pick a column to the left or to the right of that. So if you've never noticed this feature before, if you select something with numbers, it will do average and it'll do sum. If you came down here and clicked on your bar, you could add min and max and a few other things as well. And there's a couple other options here that you can show or not show depending on what you're doing, if you didn't already know that. All right. So we're going to start today with what's called an auto filter. So an auto filter is the quickest means for setting up a table so it displays only the rows that meet the simplest criteria. Using the auto filter is set up to search fairly easily, and I'm going to kind of compare and contrast so you can see what happens with an auto filter versus a filter when we actually get to them in the lesson on tables. So I'm going to come back here to my workbook, and I am going to click on client list, and they would like us to name our range. They want us to pick our range, which I think we already named it clients. So if I come up here to the name box and I press the down arrow, it will select that range A4 down to N56 for me. And then they want us to go to the data tab and go to the sort and filter group. And here is the filter command. Okay. And once I do that, it puts in row 4, because that's the first row I selected, these little filter arrows for each of my columns. Now, whatever the first column is that you select will be the row that gets the filters. So you have to be careful, because if I would have selected row 3, that would have been the filters. If I didn't select anything, most of the time it goes in 1. If I would have selected 5 and forgot my row headers, it would go in 5. So always try to select the column that has the row headers. All right. So they want us to scroll up. Remember, we put a freeze panes on here so that 1 through 4 stayed in place. And they want us to drop the arrow down, the filter arrow down for client number. And it says, click the down arrow besides client number heading in column A. Excel displays the auto filter menu. So that's what this is. And you see that we can sort in ascending, descending, sort by color. So this is the same as sorting by the sort command. And sometimes I like to just go there, see if I click on that, it takes me to the same place. And instead of going all the way up once I have turned on the filter option. So you'll see as we go through the rest of these lessons, I can sort this way. And I can also come up here and sort on the ribbon tab. And then we have, since these were numbers, client numbers, we see number filters, and then we see all of the data down here in the column, and I can select or not select. So if I deselect, that means it won't show, and if it's checked, it means it will show. So you have a couple options in terms of filtering. They first want us to sort from smallest to largest, so I'm going to do that. And if you notice near a drop-down arrow, I have an up arrow, and that represents this column being sorted. And I can see that now my information is sorted by column A. And I know it's sorted also because I see that sort icon. Okay. This now says to show just the clients with the addresses in Ohio. So let me word that again for you. It says to show just the clients with addresses in Ohio. So I want to show just the addresses with the clients in Ohio. So you might say, do I go to clients? Do I go to addresses? Or what would show Ohio and then show just the addresses of people in Ohio? You got it. It's state. So if I come over here to J4 and I press my down arrow, I've got a couple options. I could do a text filter. I could do equal to OH. I could deselect both of these and then pick Ohio. And I could also just deselect Indiana if I wanted to, in this case, since there's only two of them. And then I'm going to press OK. Now I'm going to double check that I have the right number. I'm going to select all the OHs, and I come down here to the bottom right-hand corner, and I have a number 16, which is exactly what I want. Now I know that I have a sort in column A because I have the sort icon here in A4. And I also know that I have a filter because in J4, I have a little filter icon. All right. And that's how you use the little auto filter. All right. Now we're going to do a custom auto filter. So it says a custom auto filter uses a rule that you created, instructing Excel how to create entries in each row. The results determine whether the rows are displayed or filtered out. With a simple auto filter, Excel looks for contents based on actual samples of the column. With a custom auto filter, you devise a rule instructing the worksheet to display only records whose values in one of the given worksheets are above or below the certain amount. The custom auto filter is among Excel's most powerful tools. Okay, so we're going to switch over to patient list, and they want us to insert a new column between D and E. So if I'm going to put a new column between D and E, what do I have to select? You're right, E. So I'm going to select E, and I'm going to go to Home this time, drop down, Insert Sheet Column. All right, so now you notice, because we had a validation rule in D, that it's now an E because it always copies the properties to the left of it. So how do we clear that data validation rule? First, select the column. Second, go to the Data tab, Data Tools group, drop down Data Validation. And remember, you click Data Validation, clear all, then press OK. And the little tip is gone. If I click back on D, my input message is still there. All right, so we are going to put in some vaccine dates, essentially. So we're going to type in hepatitis inoculation. I'm going to spell check that because, yep. And I'm going to press enter. And they want us to change the column width to 11. So I'm going to select E, right click, column width, and I'm going to change it to 11. I'm going to press OK. So now I can see that whole entire column heading. All right, so now we are supposed to put some dates in. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to zoom in on the dates so I can see them a little bit better. Here they are. So in E8, it's 1/8/2016. E11 is 8/16/2015. E13 is 5/15/2016. That year real quick, 2016. Then we have 3/1/2013. And that is an E18. I'm just going to double check that. 3/1/2013. Okay. So then on E22, I have 10/19/2014. E26, I have 7/5/2016. E32 is 2/2/15. And then we're going down to 37. And 37 is 8/15/16. And then we're on 38, I believe. Yep. 7/14/15. And then our last one is 43. And that is 9/1/16. All right. So now we're going to come up here to our name box, and I am going to click Patients. So I have my information selected correctly, including the column headers. And then I'm going to come up to the Data tab. Actually, I'm going to go to the Home tab this time. I'm going to drop down in Editing group on the Home tab. And notice it is here as well, so I'm going to click Filter. So you can do it through the Data tab, and you can do it through the Home tab. And we had row 4 selected, so that's where the drop-down filters go. And also, if you notice this H is sitting here, and it was bothering you, I'm going to delete that so you can see how that's an easy fixed thing. So I'm going to click the drop down near hepatitis inoculation, and I'm going to remember we're doing a custom filter. So we have sorting here again, then we have date filters, and we have all the dates. So we're going to come here to date, and then we can do all these predefined ones, or we can come way down here to custom filter. And that's the one I'm going to do. And we have 2 lines here. And if we do 1 line, we are just looking for 1 criteria. And if we do 2, we're looking for more than 2, but we have a question between and and or. I'll get there in just 1 second. So our custom filter, it says in the first box, it says we're doing this for hepatitis inoculation. We're going to choose is before. So we are looking for dates that are before a certain period of time. And we're looking for dates that are before 1/1/2016. And then we're going to press this OR button, and then we're going to drop down where it says this blank line, and we're going to pick equals, and then we're going to leave this blank. So let's talk here. So we have done is before. So we are looking for dates that are before the 1st of January 2016, okay? Because that essentially means that their vaccine has expired. And that's why we're looking. And that's not enough, okay? So we are also looking to see if they do not have anything in that column. So we left it blank over here where the criteria is. So leaving that blank literally means look for the cells that have nothing, that are blank. That's why there's a difference between 0 and blank that we've been talking about for so very long. So then we have and or. We didn't say look for dates before 1/1/16 and that are blank, because if it had a date in it, it couldn't be blank, so that wouldn't work. So or means more, and it's going to look for all those dates before the 1st of January 2016, as well as any blank ones. And means that they have to meet both of the criteria, or means either or. So I'm going to press OK. And look over here on the left-hand side where your numbers usually are. Much smaller than it usually is. And they're blue. That means the filter is activated and the other ones are just hiding. Remember, they're not gone. They're just hiding for now. And if I look at column E and E4, I see a little filter icon. And all of these are either blank or before January 1st, 2016, if I've done everything correctly. Now, of course, I'm going to do a count because I know how many there's supposed to be. So I'm going to select a column that has everything in it. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to look at my count number and it says 48, and that's exactly what I'm supposed to have. Now I can't select the column with hepatitis in it because inoculation, because it has blanks in it and it won't count those blanks. Okay. So now it says click the filter button besides hepatitis inoculation again and press the down arrow. Again, essentially, go to date filters, go back to custom. So I can get back in here and I can fix this if I want to. It says, if in the second list box that is currently reads equal, choose the blank entry at the top of the list. So we want to get rid of the ones that essentially, we're not going to look for the ones anymore that were empty. Okay, so we're changing our filter requirements. And then we are going to press OK. So now we're only looking for the results of before 2015. And when I do my results, I have 5. Remember, don't include the row header when you're selecting to check to make sure you're OK, because that'll mess up your count. And then double check, are all these before January 1st, 2016? And they are. OK. Now, we're going to drop down this, and I'm going to talk about clearing. So if I want to get rid of a filter on a particular column, I come to that column, I drop it down, and I do clear filter from that particular column. I also can go to the data tab, and I can clear up here as well, but this generally clears all of them if you had more than one applied. So just be careful on what you want to do. So if you're clearing all the filters, I say come up here. If you just want to clear one, come to the one column that you want and then clear the filter. And that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to press save. All right. Press and save. And I'm just looking for one piece of paper real quick. Okay. So we're going to quickly filter using cell attributes now. So we're going to go to patient list because that's the one that has our cell attribute. And I'm going to drop down for spayed or neutered. And I'm going to come here and notice this one's different. Okay, it's got the sorting. It's also got the clear that's inactive. But it also has filter by color because remember I put that the conditional formatting rule in this column in the last lesson. So I also have filter by color here. So I'm going to pick that pink swatch, and now I'm only seeing the ones that are spayed or neutered. And remember over here, they're all blue when you've activated that. And I'm going to turn that off real quick again. And notice that once the filter is clear, they go back to the standard row header color. Okay. I'm going to press save. And that is an introduction to filtering in Excel outside of a table. Thank you.